the professional service?
Yeah. Well, it's for carrying to taking the asset management plan to the next level.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Was it just sent?
Yeah, he said he just sent it.
Oh, okay, I don't have service down here. I'll have to read it when
I haven't seen it. I don't know what it in it.
What's that? Call the meeting to order. All stand, face your flag for the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Roll call: Britt Luther.
Present.
R.J. Dunn.
Here.
Jim Yoakum, I'm present. Approval of minutes.
Make a motion that we approve minutes.
Discussion.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of claims.
I'll make a motion to approve claims.
Second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So much for discussion, eh?
So much for that one. I'll get it right here in a minute. Approval of payroll.
Motion to approve payroll, please.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public comment. If you notice, we made a very good suggestion, and we're having open for comments at the beginning and at the end. So everybody has a right to voice their opinion, or if they wants to. So if not, we're going to move on. Open issues, Vermilion Trails Alliance, VTA.
We don't have any to report tonight, but we are here for any questions that might arise
At the end of the meeting.
later on this evening.
Okay, thank you very much. RISE board, I seen Bob Grew here. You got anything from the RISE you want to come up? Give you an option while you're here, since you're already here. Okay with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good evening, Bob Grew, Vermilion Rise. Just a few notes I jotted down. We continue to receive what seems to be a steady amount of inquiry in the shell building, so that's good. We still don't have an offer, but we're still getting site visits. We're also responding to inquiries through the Indiana Economic Development Corporation for industrial sites. Attended 3 good marketing and networking events recently. The Indiana Economic Development Corporation Global Summit, which was just in advance of the Indy 500 and brought almost 30 different countries to Indiana for that event. Attended the Indiana Power Partnership event in Dallas. I'll be attending a similar event in Indy after the 4th of July week. And those are networking events with corporate site selectors, corporate brokers, real estate brokers, so they're excellent marketing opportunities. We're getting close to final draft of our lease agreements for the solar project, so we continue to now we're working on the finer points. I think we got to have some of the big picture things completed. Mike Meyer with Congressman Bouchon's office came up last week just to get familiar with the property. We're working on a sale agreement for Newport Pallet. They're interested in purchasing their facility. They've leased it. They were our first tenant way back some time ago. Our last meeting, we met with Kevin Wickens, EMS, and discussed accommodating an ambulance site, and our group wants to be supportive with that endeavor. We had a May 21 area fire department training event at the RISE, and that went well, and I think Mark and I are going to talk about maybe a fall event where they can do some different things rather than just going to the various tenants. And we're getting proposals for an audit of our headquarters, our office building, 7700, just to better understand the systems in there and how we could expand it. You know, what would an elevator look like? You know, some of these things for more enhanced use of the space. What would we have to do to make accommodations like that? So we'll see what that report lends itself to. So that's a quick snapshot.
Something I was going to ask, I thought about this here lately, that we had some people help in professional marketing with the RISE, with economic development. It seems like, you know, we get deals and a lot of times they don't work out.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if we're putting too much load on you guys to try to be the actual salespeople. And if we had some professional people that, you know, that would help you with sales.
Yeah, well, we could look at that. I mean, we've got.
You know what I'm saying?
I think we did that, did we not, a year ago or so?
Well,
Just on the property.
I guess
selling
that was
property.
just a real estate
Yeah, real estate.
agreement.
yes, a listing of the shell building. Yeah, and that's interesting in itself. I mean, I really thought that would generate interest. I think now it's more the fact that we've got a building and they're hard to find right now.
Because the building really is underpriced, isn't it, compared to what it costs today with today's
Yes,
construction?
yes. Right. So, yeah, let me look at that and I'll bring back some ideas. You're right, you know, more oars in the water, the better. I mean, I think we do a good job.
I'm not saying you don't do a good
I
job,
know,
I'm saying
Tim, but I mean, any company,
level
you
of
can always
professional.
spend more on marketing. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, you're right.
How's it going with you and Doug Hess, an economic developer? You guys attending each other's
we
meeting?
talk all the time and, yeah, it's great. Enjoy working
Yeah.
together.
Good. The RISE board position is an open position. We're going to fill that. I think we're going to make the deadline next meeting. That will be you go online and fill out an application, or you can call us and talk to us. But next Tuesday, at next meeting, I say that's when we ought to make the decision. That sound good?
Yeah, that's fine. Fine by me anyway.
Okay. So we'll get your other board member appointed. Ordinance 2022-12, inspection and copying of public records. That's a work in progress. You want to talk about that at all, or you want to?
I made my suggestions to the ordinance, so I'm ready for a first reading, but.
You want to
that's up
explain
you
that,
all.
John?
Okay, the Indiana Code allows a unit of local government to create a form to use for requesting public records. And you've got regular public record requests, and you've got what's enhanced public records. Like, there are some companies that use tax or real estate information. It's called enhanced access. And we're going to put together a standardized form for people to use when they request public records. Tell them what office the request would go to and where the response would be, and then work with our tech support, because a lot of times the enhanced access, they'll want the data in a certain format, like a certain type of storage for it, or transmitted a certain way by computer. And so we're going to make a form that would be accessible to everyone that they could use to streamline that process.
I think we'll take our advisement next time.
I'm ready for a first reading of it by title, but we can make refinements.
It's
by
fine
the
with me.
time
What
we
do you
get to
guys
the
want?
Yeah, I
next
mean,
one.
I'm okay with the first reading if you guys want to read it or read it by title.
I would read it by title tonight.
You mean, I don't have a copy of it in front of me.
I think it's-
Yeah, start with you guys. I can read it by title. I don't know what the ordinance number would be to you guys. You said 12. All right, County Ordinance number 2022-12, setting a process to request public records, and I'll read it by title: an ordinance for public records request. And we'll leave it on file for anybody to
Okay.
look at before next meeting.
That's the first reading. Ordinance 2022-13, emolument. I read through. I didn't have a problem with it, but you say you wanted to look at it a little farther.
I had comments. There's some penalties and so forth. I think that the county's restricted to a certain dollar amount, and I'm not so sure that didn't surpass those dollar amounts that were allowed anyway. We can go with the first reading with that tonight. I changed my comments were more of the legal nature of what
Yeah.
statute allows us to do, but for the most part, I think it's something that we need to do as a county in order to support our surveyor for one, but also make sure that our monuments stay in place.
Right.
So I would like to get that on the record as well, and then we can refine that before the second reading comes up.
Okay. You wanna go ahead and
I've
make
already
it-
made my suggestions to the.
Yeah.
for
Run
legal.
first reading on it.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. This is or a recommendation. This is a first reading. I'll read it by title only. Ordinance number 2022-13. An ordinance establishing procedures and penalties for the removal or alteration of a section corner or high accuracy reference network point or benchmark monument.
Okay. Good. The ordinance of public records, is that the same thing that we was talking about? Or is that overlap? Or do you want
I
that?
think that's an overlap of
Yeah, I
the
think-
first one, or leftover from.
Okay, we move on. New business, covered bridge certification request. We got a request here that we ought to certify our bridges. And it's something I think we can do.
Make a motion that we certify the number of covered bridges according to IC 8. Can't read it. 14-1-10. We do have 3 covered bridges in the county that qualify as such.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Okay, Clark Dietz agreement. This is for the community crossing grant that's going on. And I think it's for $7,000. I think it's money well spent.
Yeah, we had used them last year, and I thought it was 7,000. You're right. Because I think it's the same agreement that we used last year. If there's no objections to that or comments, I'd like to make a motion to approve the professional service agreement with Clark Dietz to oversee the 2022 Community Crossings Bid Administration.
For the January letting.
For the January letting, yes. Thank you.
Yes,
I second the motion. I'm sorry. That was different.
Discussion. And then a second.
Second, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Clark Dietz approved. CPR training.
There have been a request for some people in the courthouse, I believe, for the most part, to take on CPR training. I think it's been the recommendation of almost any medical group that I'm aware of that that's a positive thing to have and life-saving if people are willing to do that. And I think it's a $50 charge per person, is it? 50 or 55. Anyway, it'd be my recommendation that people that are willing to be certified to allow that to happen inside the court or within the courthouse, or actually, I guess, county-wide,
Yeah,
county employees, if you will, office holders and/or employees. So, I don't know if we need a motion for that. We can either agree to do that or not.
You don't need a motion for something like that, do we?
If you're in agreement,
Yeah, I'm
it's
in
not
agreement with
required.
that, yeah. If, could we, I know somebody had sent something out from the health department, but could we send something back out to countywide to let them know that the county will foot the 50 or 50?
You might put the dates that those are going to be available, or that service for training will be available.
Where will the funding come out of that?
I don't know.
I don't know if the commissioners probably have some in one of the commissioners' court.
Does it come out of security, possibly? Courthouse security.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find some place to pay for it out of.
Okay, we're gonna proceed with that.
It's out of our discretionary fund.
Yeah, the discretionary would be one.
Okay, Lucas Automated CPR recommendation. I think that Brett and I was both here, and a lot of the fire departments were here, emergency management, and the new piece of equipment out on the market, right?
Yeah, in fact, my son just used it twice this week, and it saved one life. The other one was pretty far gone, but basically it pays for itself with if you look at the actuary data. That said, if we are able to use it twice in the county, we pay for all the devices primarily. If you just look at the pure dollar amount of it, not counting the other aspects of the device, it has a pretty good record. Terre Haute has done it throughout all their fire stations, and I'm not sure if they went further, but Terre Haute and Vigo County all have at least one device, if not multiple devices. Asked the fire chiefs, all the fire chiefs were here that night or that day for the demonstration from Lucas. They've asked their questions. The cost is somewhere right around $15,500 plus or minus, plus a 5-year warranty costs another $5,000. It's approximately $21,000 per unit. That's what it comes down to. There was some discussion at what we were discussing is providing a unit at each one of the fire departments. That would be a interlocal agreement between the fire departments to maintain the units and to provide the certified training. You need to be at least a first responder to use the device. And they were going to take that under advisement, and then they were going to come back also with whether we have 7 departments, basically, fire departments, but there are more than 7 stations. And so the discussion went further as whether we need 7 units or more. And so it's been my recommendation that we do continue to provide the Lucas device, but they're not going to get back with us until July 1st. So a decision isn't made, but we can go on to further discussion if anybody wishes to have one. They'll have their say in it, the fire chief's say in it anyway, come July 1st. There's a committee of 3.
For clarification, now, you know what this, some of you might not know what this machine is, but if you ever did CPR where you got to do the compressions and that, this will actually do the compressions. And it's, I think, something a very good investment.
Yeah, one of the advantages to the departments is that with the lack of manpower that we have, and even if you have manpower, if you ever done CPR on an individual, it becomes tiring fairly quick. And we're looking at possibly extended stays or extended mobilization from wherever the incident happens to a hospital. And the survival rate, actually the walk-away rate from the hospitals is pretty impressive, the data that's been provided today. Without the device, it's a hit and miss whether it actually works or if you actually have a save, if you will. It's not just a save to the hospital, actually somebody walking away from the hospital after they've gotten there. But it does a mechanical CPR, which is hard to replicate if you're doing it yourselves, if you've ever had to do that or ever have done that. It's not as easy as it, well, I don't know if it ever looked easy, but it's not easy to maintain that properly.
Did you know if any of that COVID money was available or not?
I did not ask the health department.
I didn't.
I
get a
need to
positive
get
thing
down there,
about
but
that.
I've not gotten down there. I will do that
So we'll
tomorrow.
are they going to get back with us in 2 weeks, or when is it?
July 1st.
July 1st. We'll have a recommendation that we can take possibly to the
Whatever it's called, the
ARP?
American Rescue Plan, ARP.
Yeah, that'd be a good
committee.
investment in our community, I think. Money.
We have 2 potential funding sources. One can come from COVID, where if we did not spend all the money for the vaccination clinics and so forth, that's what Terre Haute did. They were able to take money from that and actually apply it to the units. Half of that, part of that cost, I don't know, was half. They were able to use part of that cost for that, and then the rest came from ARP, I believe, for the...
It's under health board control.
That was, yeah. The health board didn't use all their funding for that, for all the clinics and everything that was going on at the time, and so the COVID monies were still available, and it was allowed to be used in that.
So by July the 1st, we'll have an update on this, so know which way we're going to go.
And again, the ARP committee needs to come back, make their recommendation. Commissioners are going to have to agree, and then the council will have to agree.
Right.
So it's not a given.
Okay, we're going to move on to, anyone got any questions about that? Some of you were here, we had the demonstration. Gateway Monument consideration.
Came up with an idea, I wish these monitors worked. An idea basically is a concrete structure that would be placed at the South Vermilion County line and the North Vermilion County line, more or less, or south of 74, really, I-74. And what it is about a 28 to 30 foot tall structure that is the outline of the county. It'd be initially hollow on the inside with vermilion lights that would light up the term or the word vermilion from top to bottom. And then along the outside, along what would be the Wabash River, the configuration of the Wabash River would be a blue light or a series of LED lights of blue nature that would follow that around. The structure would be proportional to about 28 to 30 feet tall, so it would be just as wide. And we may be able to do that within county, and we'll have to see. It's a work in progress at this point. It's garnered some, I think, interest from the commissioners anyway to put this gateway measure in and give people a knowledge that you've entered now Vermilion County and that you'll be maybe leaving Vermilion County. So it's a number of communities have done this in different, usually in very small forms, and sometimes impressive and sometimes not so impressive. Some of them do it in all the bridges. Every bridge has something on it. We don't have too many bridges between here and there, but I think it's a good statement, and I think we can do this with a very reasonable price to the county or cost to the county. Our highway departments ought to be able to help along with some of this as well, I think, anyway. Work in progress, though.
Jail furniture contract review and letting. How are we doing okay on the jail? On budget, on time, I assume?
Wasn't ready for that tonight, but we ran into one little snag that we're working on, and that has to do with the ATS, the automatic transfer switch. Going from the generator into the building, or from main power to generator power to the building. That was delayed until October, so we've made account for that. We accounted for that, restructured a little bit, but now that device has been pushed out to March of 2023. March of 2023. That surpasses our date. So now we're looking at alternatives of rebuilt units, looking at the possibility of the Rise having one out there that we could use at least temporarily. And then they're searching, and then I've also asked them to look at dual devices. In other words, not a single device, but a device that would come on for what was normal, or I guess it'd be the base power, and then the second unit come on, and following that to bring on the second or the other power so that the jail could operate above base power anyway. So those are still under consideration at this point.
Okay.
The furniture contract we need to agree on, and I apologize I didn't bring that tonight. I may have it in my computer, but I should have forwarded that, and I did not forward that. We had only one comment, or only one contract, primarily as for $45 an hour. They'd primarily be working with the sheriff on that. If you would authorize me to continue with that, since we only have one contract, we requested three firms to bid on it, but there was no response from any except for one, and that's Theismann. If you would, and maybe we can just waylay that until a little bit later. I apologize for not. I don't think I sent it to you at all. I apologize. I didn't get that done.
What do you suggest here, John?
As far as?
You put out for a request for bids and only one return to bid.
Well, did that bid conform?
It did.
It did. I mean, you can reject all if you want to redo your process to try to get a better pool of bids and broaden your pool, or you can accept that one conforming bid.
Has that company worked with a contractor before?
It was I think Theismann was a recommendation of Garmong. They're out Terre Haute, or at least they have an office in Terre Haute. I did interview the lady. That's the principal there. I believe that they have the capacity to do that. They have done it for ISU and then they have a resume of places that they've done this for. I apologize. I'm just not ready to. I should have been ready tonight, and I wasn't.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Holding anything up to the jail, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Well, we need to do
reasonable.
it fairly soon. The problem will be just the supply chain. This person is a consultant to recommend and to actually get everything in place and to make sure that it is in the jail at the time that once it's released from substantial completion. We won't be able to go into the jail with this until then, but as soon as substantial completion, we need to be ready to go in. The problem will be is acquiring the materials and making sure that we have them ready at the time of substantial completion, which is basically January 4th, January 4th of 23.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you're on it.
The company's been in business a long time, Terre Haute.
Yeah, they've been around as long as I can remember anyway. I'll do a short form agreement as far as the contract goes. This is a proposal, this is not the agreement, and that's why I failed to get together. I should have had the contract ready, and I didn't, so.
I have no issues with it, Tim.
I can run the contract by you guys
Just-
prior to sending it to her to sign.
I
I'll
say
do
move
that
on with
anyway,
it.
but.
Okay, we just say it's fine with him to go ahead and proceed.
If he's a conforming bidder, you can accept the bid.
I have no problem.
You want to make a motion to accept Theismann's bid then?
I'll make a motion that we accept Theismann's proposal, subject to contract terms and conditions.
I'll second his motion.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Couple more things here and we'll move right on. Translation to know before programming to state licensing.
That's more for FYI, if you will. We have been paying for this through EAS, or EAS got the licensing for us, and so we pay this monthly, and I can't tell you all the EAS told me, or what Shane told me, was that it was a significant dollar amount that we pay for that. You'll see on your computers, or most of the office holders, or anybody, the employees or whatever, you'll see that pop up, know before, or whatever it's called, know before. Yeah, know before. It's a program to test basically employees to make sure that they maintain the security inside the courthouse, inside the computer system or servers and so forth. I asked them to transition over to the state license came available, and because that state license comes available, it doesn't cost us anything. All we have to do is claim it. So I've actually asked them to claim it. So instead of paying for it, we'll have a license from the state to use it. So it saves money. I told him to go ahead and do it without asking.
You got any comment on it, Mike Phelps?
It's a good program. It's nailed everybody, including me, so.
In fact, we get caught.
I'm pretty good about checking my email, but it's not me.
It keeps popping up. I'm wondering what it was.
Well, if you go to it, it gives you the opportunity to screw up. And so if you do, it warns you that if you do this and it was somebody else that did this, then you have possibly compromised the county system when you do it. So it's an educational program. They're like, we do have it now, but we're paying for it. But we're taking the state license and it doesn't cost us anything. So
Most of what you hear in the news is because of links just like that. That's why it's such important to train people about it, is one person can click on a real bogus or scam link and infect the entire network system in minutes. So the whole part of the training is to hopefully educate you on what to look for instead of just clicking on something. But they come up with some crafty ones that really look like they came from somebody real here in the county. That's the ones that usually get most of it. And then if you fail that, it will drive you nuts until you do all the training, which are short pieces.
You want to come up here and talk if you want to? we need you to come up here and talk.
even if you don't want
Identify yourself. I'm sorry, I should have said it earlier.
Sheriff Mike Phelps. This training program, it's a world-renowned company. EAS brought it to us as a great idea. Britton's already talked about, he got it on a state contract where we don't have to pay anything for it anymore. But now the sheriff's office isn't getting that stuff. It's only the vermilioncounty.in.gov stuff that is, but I intend to start moving VC sheriff stuff over to the Vermilion County and do away with two separate folds. But anyway, you were sent bogus emails that look real. And I'm going to call Bruce out on this one because we both got caught on the first one, so I'm not going to go down alone. But you had to smile about it, but it teaches you something important. I mean, links and emails that look real. This has gone all the way up to the Department of Justice have been hit on these. Most of these links are what infects. What you hear about in the news, 9 times out of 10 came from one person, one employee, that clicked on a bad link that infected or encrypted the entire network within minutes. So it's important that you learn what not to do, what to look for. But they've sent some pretty crafty emails that look like it came from HR is a big one. HR at vermilioncounty.in.gov. While Leanne's been here and before her, the first one's the one that nabbed several of us. But after you do that, it'll continue to send you emails that you can't shut off to remind you about training. And you have to go through this training. They're not long, they're not even boring. They're very educational, but they probably oversimplified a bit. But they're graphic, they're animated, that teach you what to look for and what not to do. It's good training, it's well worth, even what we were paying for it was well worth that. And I think every county employee should continue to have it and to do it. But the more that get caught on it, the better off we are, because now each person's getting educated. You may catch a few of them, you may even catch most of them, but I guarantee you, I don't know the numbers, EAS can tell you because they have the results in the background, the state will have it in the background of this. How many people have been caught, they can probably tell you who has been caught. I admit, I got caught twice. But I'm somebody that looks at this stuff all the time. I'm the one that'll tell you, don't click on I'm the one that'll nag you about it. Some of these are pretty crafty, but it's good education. Hopefully every employee is taking an opportunity to even mess up intentionally just so you can see what the training is about. I mean, in their emails, you're not going to get hurt. But you click on a bad link or something that you're not supposed to, an attachment, it's going to bring up a big website that, nah, you got caught, know before, and, it'll scare the hell out of you at the beginning, but but it's a good program, it really is.
Very good.
Thank you.
Highway dust control program.
Mike hasn't gotten back with me on that. I don't know if the county, this is more of a public announcement right now, but those that are interested in dust control on the roads that are gravel roads or dirt roads, whatever the case may be, the county does have a program where they place calcium, I believe it's calcium chloride on the roads. Basically it binds the roads and solidifies them. If you put your name in with your county foreman at the respective districts, they come around once a year and they'll spray the roads. There is a cost to it, and the county doesn't pick up that cost, but because we can get basically a county rate for it. So if you did it individually, it would be significantly higher than what it is if you participate in the county road. But what they do is they come around and then for every, I believe it's for every 100 feet that you have sprayed in front of your house, there's a certain dollar amount. We don't have that dollar amount available. I don't have it available right now, but they'll be coming around. When they do, it's a short term right after that, whenever they do actually come around and spray. So if anybody's interested in doing that in front of your home or property, make sure that the county foreman for District 1, 2, or 3, any one of the county foremen, if you let them know, we'll get you on the list, and they'll be able to explain it to you as to how much you might want to do and what that cost might be.
Also, we usually have an ad in the Clintonian too that put out to watch for that. Okay, moving on, Bridge 37 tonight. I'm not ready to make anything on that.
No, but we do need to make a decision. We need 3 people who will actually score this. It can be either the county commissioners or 3 people that we select. I guess the question is, what we have is that we have 2 consultants that have made proposals, or they've answered the RFP, and we have 2 no interests. And so we've met the state requirement. We had to have 3 or at least 2 no interests if we didn't have 3. So we've met the state requirements for that, for bridge number 37, for the federal funding. But now we're at the point that we need to score these. So there's 2 consultants, basically it's RQAW and Clark Dietz. They made their proposals. We should have the proposals. It's a matter now, there's a score sheet and there's instructions on how to score this. But I guess the question is that do you want to score it, or do you want to appoint someone to score it? I am going to go to score for, I will be one of them. But
Yeah, I have no problem scoring it.
Let's 3 do it. Get it over with.
But we need to get together then, and it doesn't need to be a published meeting. This is a scoring, it's an information thing. It goes to the state. Just because we may score after we get done and the weighted score comes out, it goes to NDOT, and NDOT has to place on there about the DBE, disadvantaged business enterprises. They'll put that in, and then they also have some things that they have to do to score it from a state perspective, and then they'll let us know which of the consultants was selected. So it may not be the same ones that we wish to have, or that we scored higher.
So we need to set a date to do that.
Sooner and later. We're not delinquent yet, but they would like to have it a week ago or so. But we're all right. We're probably above the curve than most of them are. Most
I'm off
counties
for
are.
8 days starting tonight, so I have to be pretty flexible in the next 8 days. What time that works best for you, RJ, in the mornings?
I can, well, I mean, if it's all right, I can score mine and just give it to you guys. Is that all right, or do we have to?
If you understand the instructions, we don't have to be in the same room. We don't have to be
Well,
in the same
I thought we were
state.
gonna do it tonight, so I went ahead and scored mine before I came here. So I can give mine to you guys now, and you guys can score yours. And
If we don't have to have a meeting, why can't we just fill them out, turn them in?
You can if you understand what you're doing.
yeah, I had to call and make sure because I didn't quite at first understand how to score it, but after I made some calls, I
When
did.
do you want to buy? Put that way, when you just get it to you by a certain date.
Yesterday, but
I'll give you mine tonight then.
as soon as reasonable.
Okay.
Here, let's say by the end of the week,
Okay.
if we can have them.
Okay.
It actually will go to Cheyenne. She's our employee responsible, ERC, employee responsible charge.
There's mine too, Sean.
Do you know how to weight them? You might want to copy that and send it to me then. I'll help you with it. But it'll be a weighted average, and then you have another sheet that you have to fill out, and you will actually forward it to the state. It's actually, this will be a good practice for next year, whenever we have our next one, or before that.
We'll get them
for
to you
that
by the
matter.
end of the week and go from there.
Yeah, and then I'll help Cheyenne fill out the rest of it.
Okay. Centrix contract, I know that was sent out, asking for approval. Went with the longer amount of term, right? Is that what you want to do? You want to come up here and talk about that?
I was just reading on that. Yeah. The Centrix is a combined telephone. Instead of having a bunch of individual POTS lines going to every one, those are $75 to $110 nowadays per phone line. Centrix is where it's one circuit that you're paying for. It's like $308 a month or something, under a 36-month contract. But that has two of the county highway garages, fairgrounds, either 2 or 4 of the jail lines left on it. 2 of those are jail faxes. I'm not sure if I know the Historical Society's on it. There's 10, I know that's what you gotta have the circuit. But anyway, it makes it a combined rate instead of paying for individual POTS lines, so it saves money. But I'm waiting on AT&T to actually send a contract for you guys to sign. But 36 is what I sent everybody through email because it's coming up on renewal, and they're bad about this, giving us 2 to 3 weeks to be able to make a decision and get it in front of you guys. They do this every 3 years, so. Anyway, 36 is what everybody said, so that's what I responded. We're just waiting on the contract now, and I just got a reply from one of them that he's out of the office, so we're waiting on Jeff Jordan, who's one of our reps, to get the contract, and then if you guys are agreeing to it now, then I can just probably find Tim or one of you to sign it once we get it and go from there. But 36 is the standard agreement. I don't think we're in a place to where we can do the VoIP system with it yet, mainly because fax lines have a trouble with VoIP systems, especially out where we're at. But I don't think that we could currently in this county. We get more broadband, I think we'll be able to do something different, but I don't expect that to happen real quick or anytime soon. So after this contract, maybe that's something we can look towards again, is doing something different that may even be cheaper.
I have no problem with it.
I'm in agreement with it.
I'm in agreement. Since this is a public safety issue, basically, can we not have this just a continual rollover unless the contracts change or not?
Yeah, this one doesn't really change much in price. It doesn't seem to go down.
It
The
seems to be a
worry
more-
is if we go outside of that contract, it doubles,
Well,
and
that's
in
what I
some cases
mean.
it triples.
This seems to be more of an administrative, almost like a utility type thing.
In the past, the State Board of Accounts has not liked what they call contracts with an evergreen clause, the types that automatically renew, just because I think you found some in the past where the county had pieces of equipment that they weren't using anymore, but the contract was just kept renewing year after year.
Well, that's not the contract that's renewing, it's us allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
And I guess it's our evergreen clause. I don't know, maybe it's a bad idea.
I can put it on my calendar if I'm still around, then I can
Well, I'd
bug
like-
everybody about, I mean, every 3 years it comes up. This is, I think now, well, no, there'll still be two. The one we just signed for the VoIP system that is added to our internet out at the jail, and then the Centrix circuit, so really we're down to those two. But
I think
they don't give
we're all
us
in
2 or
agreement.
3 weeks heads up notice, but it's almost like, I'm assuming they do it intentionally because it's like a pressure thing. You know, here, sign, but
Right.
there isn't any other choices or better option out there right now to argue with them about.
Is this not something we could allow the president of the commissioners to sign? Is-
I mean, you could do that.
That's-
if
then
you
that's not
wanted
an evergreen
to
thing.
No, if you want to delegate that authority, you could do it that way.
I kinda like that idea.
Yeah, I would-
That
I would
way
agree
we're
to
not
that.
caught up in the minutia of things and actually losing our contract and then having to renegotiate
Yeah,
whatever
we've
that
got,
is.
I forget what the date was, but I wanna say it's like next week. Now it's up to AT&T, they've been notified. As long as they get us the contract and I can find one of you to sign it, then,
I think
all I
that-
have to do is scan and email it back and we're
Okay.
good to go. Jeff, we've run into where they've crossed, but Jeff's always been able to get us credited back for that.
We're all in agreement, I believe, so if you
Yes.
want to get
Yep.
one of us, whoever you can grab, easiest for you.
All right, we'll do.
Okay, with y'all?
Yep.
Public comment, again. We're going to continue this meeting into the next item on the agenda. I want to say something about community crossing grant. There's been some rumors going around that I heard that it was mentioned that we had missed 3 years of community crossing grant, and that's totally false. The first year it came out, we got it the very first year. We've got it every year since then. In fact, we went from 1.1 million of funding to 1.33 million dollars of funding in the process 3 years ago. 1 year I knew that the county was not going to get it because the state was looking for new ventures, and we got Dana involved, we got Cayuga involved, we got Newport involved, and Universal that year, and even though the county didn't get it, we worked it out and helped them, and I know that County of Dana got $354,000 that year. I think Newport got some money, and also Newport and Cayuga got money. So every year we've been successful except that 1 year, and we end up making it so other entities, other towns got it also. So that's not true that we missed it for 3 years. It's totally incorrect. So
Have any towns applied for, municipalities applied for?
yeah,
it
Dana's
this year?
been doing it. Dana almost
Only
got over.
Dana?
They've done it 2 years.
This year, I mean, or January?
Yeah. Any comment between you all, and ask for public comment, and we're gonna move to the next situation.
Has the ARP committee discussed Bridge 90?
That came up, and we was gonna have a meeting with Baker Tilly.
Okay.
They're coming in because they're the ones overseeing it. We wanna make sure that is on the radar.
Okay.
That's
I'm just gonna
definitely-
keep asking every meeting.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And then the,
I did,
oh.
with respect to that, I did talk to Clark Dietz in case ARP wasn't gonna be available for whatever reason. What I asked him was, would that bridge wait until community crossings came available next January? And the answer is a qualified yes. They said it is a compromised bridge. It does have at least two strands, if not more, that are broke on the box culvert portion of it. They believe that it would, but it was a hesitant would.
Yeah.
If we can wait for the community crossing grants, I would prefer to do that, but we may want to look, if that would be a decision, I think we'd want to take Clark Dietz and put them on the stand for that, if we would do that. It is a compromised bridge. And I just hate to see the ARP money go to have to pay for that, but if we could use community crossing grants, and if we believe that bridge would not
25% cost instead of 100% cost.
Exactly, but if we could do that, that'd be my preference anyway. But I would prefer also to make sure that we get Clark Dietz and make sure that they're standing there and can give us those as much as you can get an assurance of things anyway. Of course, anything goes south, but giving us a high probability that we could last another year, if you will, or a year basically. Also, I don't think we have the last time I talked to anybody about it was White Construction. I don't think we have a valid bid at this point, do we?
I believe the 90 days
expired.
are expired on that.
Regardless of what funds we end up being able to use, we'll have to either ask White's whether they'll honor the previous agreement, or we'll have to ask for a new proposal or a new estimate on it.
Tim, I had one other thing. You guys were talking about the Lucas CPRs thing, which I think is great for the county. I was talking to some of the county reserves at the fair, and John, you might be able to speak on this. So not all the reserve cars have AEDs in them, is that right?
I don't think so.
Or Mike, is
might know
that?
for sure.
Not every single vehicle, no.
Okay. And so I was thinking if we were going to potentially look at that, I'd like to see about maybe working with the sheriff's department to make sure every county reserve was equipped with an AED or at least the vehicles, or every vehicle in the sheriff's department.
What do you recommend, Mike?
It'd be nice to have one in every vehicle, yes.
I had heard the cost was like under $2,000 for them. I don't know if that's accurate or
The
not.
ones that we have, you can't get for that price, but they're also becoming outdated. But
Okay.
there's newer ones where you get $15,000 to $2,000 range.
Okay. I just want to put that on the radar for you guys.
Okay.
You got another thing? We've had a number of stolen highway signs. It's become chronic now. It's costing the county quite a bit of money, not just for the signs themselves, but for the time to go put them back in. It's been so bad that when we put the secure bolts on, they can't get those off, so they just take the whole sign. They pull the post and everything up using four-wheelers or whatever the case may be, whatever vehicles. It's a danger to the public. We've lost multiple stop signs at locations where there are four-way stops, and people will not, and I guess if you understand you're supposed to stop there, it's one thing, but if you're new to the area or if you're not thinking, you won't see a stop sign, and sometimes somebody's going to go through there and it's going to be a bad situation. I'd like for the public to be a little observant, if you would, if you start seeing this. It's potentially a felony. It's going to kill somebody one of these days, some of these signs that are being stolen. And it's not just stop signs, but speed signs, deer signs. I think it goes across the board of different signs, and I'm not sure exactly why. We are marking the signs with Vermilion County, so if you end up with them, we will be able to identify the sign, and we will take action on it. They are being reported each time to the sheriff's department. We are going to start taking other actions here shortly.
Is it all in the same area?
There is.
Right.
Around the Universal area, we've been having a very big, probably the largest problem, but it's radiated out from there. It's not just there. It's wherever the four-wheelers can go, it seems like the signs end up missing.
Yeah. We had quite a few up north, but when we transitioned to the anti-theft bullets, it slowed down a little bit, but there was still some stop signs that were just pulled completely out of the ground.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it takes them longer, and we're hoping that, I know we had used some, I think District 3, I think there's some cameras that even the Sheriff's Department had helped us put out, and the only problem is once you put them out, it seems like they don't go to that sign, and you're trying to figure out where they're going to go, and you have no idea. But yeah, it is unfortunate, if you see something, say something, because, I mean, these signs are, $50, $60 a piece by the time you post.
But they're there for a reason. They're not there just to make it look good on the roads. And not that we're not going to have to be replacing signs. That'll be part of the program that we'll hopefully be developing in January or July. But regardless, we need to be
Did you have one
studious
that
with
you
those.
replaced, you put up, and by the time you got back, it was already gone?
That's happened 3 times, yes, on one location. It is, yeah.
What do you think the market is for those? Are you just doing it for
I don't know.
the thrill of it, or?
I don't know, but I did see some stop signs around, and I stopped and looked, that were not they were highway signs, but they weren't on the highway any longer, but they weren't ours. I don't know who they were. I will
Okay.
find you.
Any public comment before we go to the next item?
Meet and greet at the county fair, 7 o'clock tomorrow night
Tomorrow night.
for candidates and other office holders, and something else. Oh, economic development's also at the county fair. Stop and see what they've been doing. They've got some things that are on the websites now, and that you can look into and see what's happening on the economic development front.
Okay, we're not going to adjourn this meeting. We're going to go on into the next topic, and it's trails regarding the property.
Well, that's a town hall. That's not a
Yes.
commissioners meeting.
No, just more.
Okay.
We don't want to continue a commissioners meeting into this town hall.
That's what was recommended. I'm just.
Oh, it was?
What do you recommend?
Are all three of you guys gonna be interacting with the public, or is just one of you guys doing it?
Probably all
So
three.
if all three of us probably should continue.
If two or more commissioners are gonna be talking and potentially making decisions on the trail, you should just leave that as the last item on your meeting agenda.
Okay, and what
Do it
time was it,
something
Brenda?
we do.
7:30? Okay. That's fine. We just want to, that way we're protected that we're.
Are we making a decision on this? I thought
Well,
we were just
I
listening.
thought it was just more
We're just gonna
information.
listen.
Yeah, I
We're
thought it
gonna
was
make
just-
Yeah, if you're just
decision
taking
anyway.
public comment, that
That's just
would
public
not require
comment.
the same.
Well, that's-
Yeah,
I thought
I
we
didn't
were
think it
doing-
was more, no decisions being made, it was more just listening and hearing people.
We wanna give
If
people a
you're-
right to come
If you're
and
just
voice
giving
their
the
opinion
public a
and say what
chance
they-
to say something, that would be different.
I thought it was at town hall that they were going to afford an opportunity, and then VTA was going to go back and
I mean, your-
assess, and we
your
were
safest
going to make a
practice is
decision
just
at a
be to
later
leave
date,
your
if
meeting
any
in session
decision.
Until you've heard everybody's comments.
That way if somebody does say something.
There's no reason. to
Les,
adjourn.
Let's come up here.
can we,
For what it's worth, we would like to have a decision tonight as to whether we can proceed. Because we have some kind of time-sensitive projects coming online.
Why? Oh, go ahead, Tim.
Have all these people been notified of this meeting?
So how many landowners were notified? All the adjacent landowners? And they were notified by letter?
okay, well,
I,
it didn't hurt to go on, I guess.
yeah, I'll just say now, I'm not sure I'm ready to give an answer tonight on anything. I mean, we meet every 2 weeks. I don't think 2 weeks would kill anything, but that's just my comments before we get to the,
Well, I
get to
think
the,
If people are notified and they're interested, they should be here, in my opinion.
I agree.
And, if it's not that serious to them, then I guess. they're
Let's
not here.
proceed then. How are you going to proceed with this?
You said it was 7:30 on the.
Or after the meeting.
Did you say 7:30 or after meeting? We can wait till 7:30, I think, just to.
2 minutes.
You want to?
What do you call that when you waylay a meeting for a little bit? You take a reset. You take
You
a
want a
recess.
2-minute recess?
A 2-minute recess?
2-minute
Recess.
recess.
Heard that long
Everybody
time.
gets to go out and play.
Push me up this morning?
I think what we'll have is,
You can ask if anybody's here.
we'll have Les come up and explain really what's going on. It might be nice to get that.
Yeah, and see if there's any
Source
comment.
publicly.
Yeah, and see if there's any comments from.
Yeah.
Do you or Les have a list of all the landowners that were mailed?
I don't have it handy.
But I mean, whenever it is, yeah, okay. Did any of them contact the VTA or? You know when they were sent out, Brenda, the letters? Yeah, I was just checking because I know the.
Gosh, you know, questions
I
for
know.
Jack.
Les, when we here at 7:30, I'd like for you to come here and state what you want to do and stuff like that at 7:30. Wait a few minutes before anybody, if they're going to be here.
Well, I know the postal service can be slow sometimes, so I was hoping it was sent out long enough time. because I don't know if some of these people even live here that own the property.
When was this sent?
That's what Brenda's gonna find out, because I know I sent something, I don't know, a month ago, and I got a late fee on something because they didn't receive my, like, phone bill or whatever, because they said we never received your payment. Then I went to cancel, and a week later they accepted it a week later.
Are we in recess?
Tim, did you put us in recess for a few minutes?
What?
Did you put us in recess for a few minutes?
For 2 minutes.
It's about 30 seconds.
Oh, man.
It's 7:30. You want to come up here and explain what's going on?
Les Zimmerman, Vermilion Trails Alliance. We're itching to get to work on the trail. And we were under the assumption, I guess, that everything was in order, that we were ready to proceed beyond the boundaries of the county farm. Of course, RJ has expressed a desire to be open and upfront and accommodating of our neighbors, and we agree with that. And so as a result, we have sent out letters to all the adjacent landowners, and we've invited them to join us here tonight. And we were going to solicit their comments and their suggestions and their concerns so that we could take them into account before we actually proceed with the work. So we've got several things ready to roll. We have a group of volunteers coming in on July the 22nd associated with the United Way project. And in order to get access to the project area, we need to do some repairs to a culvert. The culvert, by the way, is continuing to collapse and creating a considerable hazard out there. We're ready to go out there and fix it. We've got the culverts on site ready to roll. And so I don't see any of the neighbors that have showed up here tonight. And so that would suggest to me that they don't have a problem with this. And I would ask that you would
And we've
give us a go-ahead to roll.
So you guys have confirmed that all these landowners received these letters?
I didn't send them certified. Brendan, did you
Well, I
send
mean,
them?
like my concern, I was talking to Britton just up here, you know, I mailed stuff out, you know, a month ago, and it was 40 days before they received payment of mine, and these were sent out on June the 1st, so that's 19 days. So my general concern is I'm looking at these landowners. I know of at least one that would have showed up, and part of me wants to step outside and make a phone call and just ask them if they received the letter. So yeah, I mean, is there anybody here that's wants to speak on behalf of the trail? Or I don't see any of these adjacent landowners out here. So that's that's kind of my concerns.
Any thoughts, Brett?
I don't know if there's anything that we have to do other than we were hoping to have a public comment. Is there
Yeah,
a
I would.
contract or anything that
We've done, I mean, all the due diligence that was requested of us. And we have tried to be, I mean, we've tried to accommodate your request the best way I know how.
Well, what's unfortunate is,
And
Les, if
Brendan has
these
been very
yeah, I mean,
forthcoming.
I understand that, but what's unfortunate is for these taxpayers. Let's say they receive this letter on Friday. how upset would you be if you received the letter on Friday and you missed the meeting? So for me, I want to have confirmation that all 4 of these received the letter, just like our proposal for Bridge 37. You know, you check with them and they said, we're not interested in pursuing it. So if I have confirmation that these landowners are not interested, then I'll be more than happy to green light the project as one commissioner. But until I have confirmation that these 4 received these letters, then I'm not ready to make a decision on that.
Is there a decision to be made?
Well, they're asking to go ahead and move on some projects, right, Les?
Well, we're asking to kind of stay on the track that we had set up with the previous commissioners.
Unfortunately,
that
2 of them
we
are
have
no longer
arranged.
here.
I mean, we've gone through a lot of hoops in this process. We've arranged with a licensing agreement with the reuse authority here. The commissioners executed that agreement with the intention that we were going to go on beyond the boundaries of the Carney Farm, and we even did what we call a proof of concept by building the trail to the border, and we stopped there and we put a sign up that said trail ends here. We are trying our darndest to accommodate everything that you all are asking for us, and you've got a hazard out there. I'm telling you that.
Is the hazard past the?
It is.
Yeah.
It
So
is.
surely nobody should go past that if you guys would put something up. Les, I mean, at the end of the
Good luck
day.
with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Les, at the end of the day, this is just a matter of making sure these landowners were notified, and if they hadn't received the mail, then they weren't notified yet. This isn't. I'm not arguing with you about it. I'm just. If I have confirmation as one commissioner that all 4 of these have received the letter, and they did not show up, then you're right. Then they don't have a problem with it. But I do have a problem if they didn't receive these letters.
Do you know of what their concerns are?
I know of at least 2 of these landowners' concerns was what they mentioned last meeting. It wasn't very friendly when they came down to a VTA meeting. There wasn't a whole lot of olive branch and, you know, very nice conversations going on.
But physically,
that was not our fault.
Les, I'm not saying it was.
That's not.
I'm not saying
important.
that.
That's not important. What I'm asking is that physically what?
I think
what are we
they
saying?
had some concerns with security, you know, whether it be fencing, whether it be cameras, whether it be signage, whether it be lighting, and I think they wanted to hear that from the VTA, considering you guys do 100% of the work, which I am happy that the volunteers of the VTA do that. That's fantastic. But I can't in good conscience say let's move forward with this, and then I receive phone calls in 7 days because these letters weren't on time. I mean, I hope you understand that, Les.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, in the interest of, I think there's a presumption. I hope you all share this, that this project is moving forward, that we are going to go beyond. I think that's a presumption. I think that's a fair presumption because that's what we have predicated the entire development of this park, the Trailhead Park theme, the shelter, all of this thing has been predicated on the notion that we're going to have a trail that goes all the way over to OPD Road. That was the understanding with the previous commissioners. That is what we have based all of our decisions on, that presumption. And there has been an investment up there of way north of $100,000 in volunteers.
And I think the community, as long as me, Les, appreciate all that investment, but at the end of the day, until I have confirmation that these 4 landowners received the letter, I'm not in any position to say let's green light and fix anything out there beyond the county line.
But it is public property. It is zoned for recreation and
Les,
parks.
I think this is just a simple understanding here.
Okay, but
Have you confirmed that these landowners have received the letter, yes or no?
No.
No, then I'm not.
Let's
That's fine.
If I may
We're
ask,
having a
if I
conversation.
can ask a question, what work is going to happen that would be something that adjacent landowners or anybody is going to be opposed to? If you're putting culverts in and whatever, I believe the trail, it will be open. I believe that was the intent of the previous commissioners. I believe it's the intent of these commissioners. If they have safety, if there's other issues, what type of work is going to interfere with anything else that you're putting down, though, whether it's lights or whether it's signage or whether it's fencing?
Well, I want those individuals to have that opportunity to talk to the VTA and talk to us and express their comments, but if they have not received this letter of this meeting, then how can any of us in good conscience say, yep, these 4 landowners aren't interested?
So if it was certified mail, you'd be.
I think if it was certified mail, or maybe call these individuals, or whatever the case may be, just like Cheyenne done with.
I'll stand here and wait if you wanna go out and call.
I
will
could call,
stand
I have
here and
a
wait.
phone number for one of them, Les, and I'm gonna have to go outside of Newport to make a phone call.
I got a phone number for Logan Rush. If you wanna talk to Logan Rush up in Chicago,
But
I got
it's-
his phone number.
It's not
You
just
want it?
Logan, it's all 4, Les. I don't have a contact information for all 4 of them. I think certified mail would have probably been the better suggestion, but
Okay,
if the
so
other
we-
2.
So we didn't do that, so let me ask another question. We have some work that we can do on the county farm, which is putting in a culvert, which is sitting on the site, that will, if we can put that culvert in, we will then have access, still on the county farm, to the railroad grade.
Les, I have no.
And that is something that we could be doing now in order to prepare for the presumption that we all
Yeah.
have is this trail is gonna continue.
Les, I have no objection to any work being done on the county farm. I just want to make sure these landowners have their voices heard, and until I have confirmation that all 1, 2, 3, 4 of these landowners, or 5, have been notified and received the letter, then I'm
And
not.
I've heard you on that loud and clear.
Okay.
I've heard you on that.
All right.
There's another comment in the back here, if they want to step forward.
Larry, you gotta come here.
Thank you, Les.
Evidently, gentlemen, that Larry Southers, the Hillsdale Water Corporation, member of Vermilion Trails Alliance. We've got an open ditch down there that where the culvert is collapsed. We've got old railroad ties in it. We've been throwing them in there. This needs to be fixed whether you gentlemen agree with it or not, because somebody's gonna get hurt on that with a quad runner. Without us down there doing things daily or weekly, you still got this thing open. That's what we're wanting to fix, whether you agree with what we're doing or not.
Well, let's know.
We need to fix this culvert now before somebody runs. I take that Polaris across there. It's a lot bigger than some of the other stuff they're running.
Mhm.
And it does everything but turn over when it goes through.
Yeah.
We gotta put that culvert in if we don't do another daggone thing.
Yeah, Larry, no one's against the work. I don't think Commissioner Yoakum is or Commissioner Luther is. I think, as I've said probably 7 times tonight, it's a repeated record, is making sure these landowners were notified. And if they were and they don't show up, I'm all for green lighting it.
Well, this is all safety. I mean, it's just this one culvert is safety.
Yeah.
If somebody goes in there and goes down that trail.
But they shouldn't be, though, correct? I mean,
I
there's.
understand they
yeah.
shouldn't be, but you know, I can't do anything to stop them.
I understand. We can't
So-
predict everything. I know. I
Okay.
understand.
Thanks, gentlemen.
We've had a number of conversations through the comprehensive plans and community forums on a number of topics. Do we have those landowners actually written us? And if they, of their concerns, any commissioner, past or present?
I know of 2 that have talked to me face-to-face with concerns, 2 of them.
But we have not received anything in
No,
writing
none
yet.
in writing, but I'm sure if I'd
That's
asked them to
fine.
put it in writing,
But
they would.
a verbal's fine too,
Yeah.
if we know of a verbal comment. But since you know what those verbal comments are they actionable, something we're gonna act on? Something that we're willing to say that because it is,
I think some of them could be, yes, but I can't speak for the other 3 landowners. I mean, because this is their adjacent property up against a potential trail going, up next to their property. So I just, again, as I keep reiterating, as long as they've received these
Right.
letters, I'm all for it.
I understand your position. I don't know that I can agree with this, Tom?
I just want to know, I have one objection up here. Are there 2 objections? If there's not 2 objections, we need to go forward. If
Tom,
it's just RJ, if it's just you objecting, it takes 2 to do anything. Are the other 2 of you wanting to object to us going forward and installing the safety that we need to do that? We've got volunteers that are coming out. We need to replace that culvert sooner, not later. And I mean, are there? I just want to see if, I want to see
That's
that
up to
there's
the
a
yeah.
consensus of at least 2 people to make, to
Yeah.
stop the project.
We understand that process, and it's not been called for any motion or any vote yet, so.
But I want to see a consensus.
You will.
Okay, that's all.
I just want to say I've been with the Marine Trails Association for a long time, and for the last 2 years I haven't been as much as what I used to be, but when it first started it was people had a vision, people was willing to put in a lot of time, and I was involved, and other people kind of took it over when they done tremendous work, tremendous hours, donated. It's probably one of the most effective groups that we have in the county as far as people working together. And I think we've made ample chance in communicating this situation, and I think we need to move on. And that's why I'm making a motion, we accept this and move on with our position.
I'll second your motion, but I'd like to go into
Discussion.
discussion now. What were the verbal concerns that they had?
So, at least from the one verbal concern, from the one individual was, the fact that the VTA was not open for conversations when they talked to him about security issues, safety issues, lighting, signage. It could be anything. I know of another farmer on there that had they were about the same concerns from both. But I will say this, and that's fine, you guys are moving forward with this, but if I do receive any comments from these individuals later on, I will forward them both
Sure.
to you guys.
Sure. Accept that.
And I just think I just don't think it's a good thing to do, to send this letter out, and then if they receive it a week later, and then they want to offer comments, I
Well,
think that's not a good place of business to
We
do.
was here when we made a decision about how we was going to do this, and we all, I think, agreed that that's what was going to be done, right?
Tim, I just think that you should consider being in their shoes, and if you receive a letter after the fact, I think that's poorly done.
I mean, I think went over and above what we needed to do, and it was fine.
Well,
that we did.
I just think
Yeah, if you get
saying,
in, share it with us.
well, I'm just saying, I think saying you extended an olive branch without any confirmation isn't really extending an olive branch at all. I think
Well,
that's.
where I'm going with this is that we've received some reply, and I've not seen anything in town halls, I've not seen anything in persons showing up at meetings here, I've not seen anything in writing, and I see general comments being made, which can be made about roads or about anything in the county, and they're only general, there's no specifics. I think there was one thing that was maybe mentioned, I can recall, it wasn't over and above what you mentioned, was about the hunting safety of some sort there.
Safety of the property, yeah.
And that was maybe another thing that I recall anyway, whether it's right or not. But I believe that they've had ample opportunity. This has been going on for beyond 2020, anyway, when we took office. I know it was going on a year before that.
Yeah, if I can get a hold of one of these landowners tonight, Britt, and I'll give him you and Tim's phone number, because I can guarantee you they weren't sent any information. Like, I mean, I understand what you're saying, that there was ample this, ample that. Well, the conversations I've heard, there has not been a very good olive branch from the organization doing this work with the adjacent landowners.
And that's what they said?
These are from those individuals, yes. And even Les and Tom have confirmed some of these, conversations with them, that they shut them down after they bombarded one of their meetings. And correct me if I'm using the wrong terms, bombarded a VTA meeting and didn't act very, kind at the meeting. But from that point on, has the VTA ever reached out to any of them about the trail?
Can I address?
Anybody from VTA?
Is one of the property owners?
So there was a rather lengthy correspondence from them. So what should we do with something like that? We gave it to our legal counsel. The legal counsel looked at this, looked at every point that they made. Their legal counsel told us, do not respond, and that's what we did. We were told, don't do that. They didn't have a foot to stand on. Their comments were frivolous. There was nothing. Our counsel told us, don't do anything, and that's what we
Were you
did.
privy to this? Has Commissioner been privy to what was sent, or did you?
This
forward
was
it?
years ago.
But this was with the previous commissioners, and
That's
this is
right.
what I'm getting at, was extending this olive branch, because there has been some issues in the past, and now we're saying, well, we want to extend an olive branch, but we can't confirm you got the letter, so therefore we're going to go ahead and move anyway.
What did the previous commissioners say about it then? Since I
They
wasn't.
were informed, they were
Always
informed that, I mean, what, Tim was there, they were informed that we were gonna, of what happened and that what our council told us to do, and
So basically, Britton, to recap, this happened, the commissioners and the VTA never reached back out to these landowners, and basically, if I'm a landowner, I'm thinking, well, the trail's not going anywhere because it's been 3 years now, 2 years, 4 years, well, at least 2 years because it happened before us. So that's where I get upset, is they showed some comments, even though they may have been, you know, out of line, maybe at the meeting, I don't know, I wasn't there. And then we attempt to extend an olive branch, and then we can't even confirm and even receive the letter, so it just doesn't sit well with me. But again, if I get these comments, I'll forward them to both commissioners, and you guys can talk to them and do that.
And I guess you saw the letter, Tim. Did you have any comment about the letter that was received by the commissioners?
I don't know what letter you're referring to.
Okay.
So there was, Lester, Tom, was there ever anything formally written, given to the commissioners, or was this just?
No, the commissioners did not receive the letter. The letter was addressed to the Vermilion Trails Alliance. And I'm just gonna tell you, if somebody threatens me, I'm not gonna reply.
And what they threatened the VTA with, Les?
They threatened to sue me. They threatened to sue me individually. They threatened to sue our group. They threatened to sue I think the county.
they threatened to
They're-
sue
they're
everybody.
sue
Says,
everybody.
we've got enough money, says you can't do this because we've got enough money to hire attorneys that you can't, that project's not going anywhere. Well, it turns out they had frivolous complaints.
But-
I mean, if they'd had something concrete, you'd already been hearing, there was nothing there.
And
That
we've
property
already
owner-
addressed-
The property you're referring to don't live around here, do they?
It's, in Lafayette is what I understand, and
Lafayette, Chicago.
In Chicago, they're not voters here, they're not residents here, they're people that, they may own land, but they don't live here.
But wouldn't the VTA, if something like that happened, maybe bring that to the commissioners at the time and say, hey, there is some opposition, even though we don't believe that it's, you know, have a lot of merit, but I think you guys should hear them. But instead, you guys didn't do anything.
Who's the attorney of
They've done
record?
plenty.
What did they do?
It was, I don't know.
I don't know if that's
We
prudent
need to
to-
share that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm just getting at the VTA and the commissioners at the time done nothing after that event. Didn't reach back out to them, didn't talk to them, didn't say, hey, maybe they have some real concerns.
On the advice of our legal counsel.
Yeah.
I don't see the Vermilion Trail Association, if there is any issues, they will be doing it anyway.
Well, and we've already addressed
Yeah.
the main concern is we do close the thing during hunting season. We put a sign up there that says trail is closed for the duration of hunting season.
I don't know if
It's
I agree
already
with
been
that,
done.
but so be it. Thank you, unless we're going here, I don't know, we're just reiterating now.
You
I think.
seconded it, right?
There was a first and there's a second, we're in discussion.
I don't have any other comments. Like I said, if I receive any, I'll forward them to both commissioners.
I guess my hopefully last comment, is that, I don't know of anything that we're doing that would stop the trail. If there might be some additions, if we have some relevant comments received now, later, whenever, on down the road, even a year from now, if we believe that are prudent for the county to undertake, that are basically primarily safety issues. With what I've read about trails, what I've read about the security issues, what I've read, I'm not sure what the concerns are yet, without being very, very specific. Anyway, that's my last comment, and I'm ready to call for the vote, but unless you guys want to discuss more.
The only last thing that I'll add is I just hope all 5 of these individuals receive the letter, and I hope their inaction of coming tonight is what they really wanted, but I fear that they didn't receive the letter, but that's my last comment.
John, do you have any input?
Just up to you guys.
You're just too good.
I don't know if there's a legal question.
Yeah.
So it's just
That's
a
what I was
matter of
looking for. Do
what
you have
the
a
board
legal
prefers
answer?
to do.
Sure. I'll call for the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Aye.
Anything else? We're gonna call the meeting.
If you do, yeah, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second the motion.
All in favor? No discussion?
Yeah, if I receive any comments, I'll
Yeah,
be sure
send it
to
to us.
forward to both of you
They-
guys.
they will.